Hi guys, welcome back to Vibes Digest. It's your host Cameron St. Clair, and today I'm here with Mustafa Ali-Smith. You may have seen him at Record Room or at the Daya. Thank you so much for being here, Mustafa.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now let's do a quick little recap because I've been peeping on social this past week, and this past weekend has been nuts for you.
It's been crazy. Yeah.
So do you want to tell them what you've been doing?
Yeah. So this past week marked my 1 year for DJing, and so I had back-to-back gigs starting Wednesday through Saturday. I was just spinning every single night. It was a lot, but it was also really nice because I got to see some folks who've been supporting me since I started and got to play some good tunes. It was a good time.
How do you keep it all original? Or do you feel like you had a lot of crossover?
So yeah, I try to keep my sets fresh, but when you have back-to-back gigs like that, you have to have something on repeat. So yeah, my first couple of gigs, I had things that I was just going to spin, the same day.
Nice.
And then my later sets, so Friday Record Room was wild, by the way. And I packed some extra good stuff for that. And then I hosted my own event on Saturday. Cue the Record did an extended play event where we played a lot of genres that you typically don't hear out. So like Afro beats, like original Afro beat, like Fela Kuti.
Okay.
Some Latin funk, Brazilian funk, disco, house music, all of that. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip ahead to the interview section, but that sounds really cool. Quick question off the top of my head. Do you have to always bring your own records with you?
Yeah, no venue is supplying records like that. That's my... No.
Really?
Yeah, that's my collection. That's mine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought that they had a whole stack.
No. Absolutely not. When you see vinyl DJs come into a set, that's all theirs. That's their collection.
Oh my gosh.
Makes you appreciate them a little bit more, right?
Yes, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I had no clue. Okay, we're gonna get back into that later. Speaking of DJs, I saw Joe K on Friday.
Word.
Oh my gosh,
that's why I thought I should have been if I didn't have my gigs. Yeah.
If you didn't already have a ton of stuff lined up. It was also his anniversary, 14 years of selection. I recently just got hip to Joe K. I'm kind of embarrassed about it.
He's been around for a while.
For 14 years. I know. It's kind of embarrassing. I don't even want to give credit to the person who put me onto it, but it's a little embarrassing. I just found out about him this past year.
Ears feeling blessed now that you've heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And also seeing him in person. So Friday for me was a little crazy. Shout out to my girl Kaylin. She came in town, but she missed her train. And I'm from Maryland, for context.
Okay.
So she was visiting me from Maryland. She missed her train, and she didn't end up at my house until 11:15 at night. And we paid $45 to go see Joe K. And I'm like, I'm seeing Joe K.
We'll go anyway.
We're going to see Joe K. And it closed at 2 a.m. because it was Knockdown Center.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, realistically, I know he's gonna be the last.
I was gonna say, he didn't
He didn't advertise that he had openers, but he definitely had openers for sure.
You went to the Saturday one?
Friday.
Or the Friday? Okay.
Friday.
Dang.
Yeah. And so we pull up. It was a huge rush because I just had too much going on Friday. And I kid you not, I was going there kind of bummed because I didn't have enough time to pregame. I had a glass of wine, did my makeup. We took a shot. We left. I'm like, I don't feel anything. I got there and it was a natural high. And that's what we all kept saying. The vibes of the space, people all around you, good music, the adrenaline rush was there. We were like, we're not on anything, but it feels like we're on something. That's how good the experience was. So amazing. I love all of his different, not only his mixes, but mainly specifically his playlist that he does and how it's his own set. There's times where if I'm hosting a house party, I'll just play that start to finish and it feels like you're out.
His mixes are phenomenal. I usually will play some of his mixes too, because he has some stuff on Apple Music.
Yeah,
he does his radio show and then his YouTube, play some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you do that with vinyl though? Or you don't?
What do you mean?
You don't just DJ with vinyl? Oh, wait, you don't
I only do.
DJ.
No. I'm not DJing his mixes.
Okay.
I'll play his mixes. Yeah.
I was also I don't know if you could do that.
You can record vinyl mixes. Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Can you play other people's mixes?
No. You
Yeah,
can't
no,
do
I was
that.
gonna say, I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, that was that. And then did you hear that he's announcing, like, he's making his own music project album?
I saw that, which is pretty big because, again, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So I think it was bound to happen. And so I think now is a good time for him to actually start on that journey.
100%. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like Kaytranada.
Yeah. Because both of them, I mean, they've been producing and making mixes for a long time.
Yeah.
Same with Kaytranada, like he finally got to the point where he was pushing out albums.
Yeah.
And I think that showcased another side of his talent. And so you picture what's going to happen with Joe K once he pushes out this album.
I know. I just hope he doesn't like lose his original recipe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to I saw Kaytranada too, like, when was this? The fall, I want to say, when he came. And I was kind of disappointed.
Really?
I love Kaytranada.
What was disappointing about it?
I don't think he was DJing for real.
Oh.
Like, at all, actually.
It was just for show.
I think it was, no, like, let me tell you.
I saw the visuals, though, and those were fire.
The visuals were fire. I think they were there to distract. And honestly, that was another, like, there are certain DJs, certain artists who just know everyone's high as a kite. And so I feel like nobody was paying attention, but because I was not, I was looking extra hard.
I'm seeing everything.
I'm seeing everything. And how is there a transition going on, but your hands up? Like, and it's like the start of a transition. You know what I'm saying?
You're clocking it.
I'm clocking. But again, I love him. I love him so much. I actually went with my friend MJ, and I was like, okay, who do you think was better, like Joe K or Kaytranada? And again, we are humongous. Like, let me just keep prefacing that because people will be in my comments based off of this. I'm like, Joe K kind of killed it. But it might have just been like the real DJing. And it's hard though when you go on tour, although technically K is also kind of going on tour right now. I just can imagine, like, all right, I have like a set, you know, how do I actually make that sound different each concert? I guess you can't really do that.
No.
Yeah.
No. I haven't seen either of them live, so I'm just seeing how other people been responding to it. Yeah. But everyone I've talked to about Joe K has said it was chef's kiss.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was literally amazing. I'm kind of mad I didn't get, well, not too mad, but I do wish I saw the other DJs that like opened for him, because that's also how you can be put on to, you know, new people.
So actually I saw, what's her name? Brooks. She goes by Soul Sugar Joint.
Okay.
And she's a phenomenal DJ. And she put out last minute that she was opening like one of the openers for Joe K for Selection. And I saw some clips from her set. I'm like, this is phenomenal. Yeah, she turned the room up. She did her thing.
I missed out, you guys. I missed out.
So this is your sign. If it's a big name like this, Joe K, come early so you don't miss the headliners.
Go early. Don't miss your train. Don't miss your train. Okay, so what else has been happening this weekend? The Oscars. The Oscars was something. It was very long. They kept making
always long, no.
Always long, but I've never actually sat start to finish. And I only did that because I knew I was going to need to talk about it. It was like a good, it might have been like 4 hours.
Yeah. I think a lot of people went to sleep.
Yes.
Like a lot of people went to sleep. They're like, this is taking a long time.
A long time, and they show quite literally every single category, I feel like. It's actually insane. Like some of them, I guess it's hard because you've been doing it that way for so long. Now we're getting a little disrespectful. Are we saying like this person isn't as, you know, worthy of getting a speech? But there was a couple of flops and a couple of, you know, good moments. First, I do want to shout out Paul Toswell, who was the first Black man to win Best Costume Design for Wicked. Amazing, well-deserved. I actually got emotional.
Yeah.
Like, embarrassingly, I started to tear up because hearing him, like, his voice crack when he was saying it, in 2025, the first is actually kind of crazy.
It's wild, but not even just, I mean, that category, but all other categories too. It's just like, they have been around for years, and to think that there's still some Black folks who haven't graced some of these.
Absolutely. I'm also thinking about how I feel like there weren't that many Black winners last night. If I can remember accurately.
You probably count them on your hand.
I think it was like 2.
Yeah.
And then one we could call Zoe. And like, I don't even think she like really claims us for real.
Yeah,
but
I don't think so. You might want to reel that one.
I digress. But no, that was a really great job. Did you see Wicked?
I did see Wicked. I actually did.
Really?
I did. I went to see it in theaters, and I loved it.
Yeah? Are you into musicals?
I'm not a big musical guy, but I was going to go see Wicked because everybody was talking about Wicked.
Okay. I thought it was definitely amazing production. I enjoyed it. Again, I'm not the biggest musical person, so I don't know if I could like appreciate it. But the way people raved about it, like you're saying.
You thought it was going to win that award,
I thought it was going to win everything.
Yeah.
And they like lost the majority of their awards. I was very surprised. Someone pointed out to me though, because it's a musical, it's a little bit hard compared to like the other.
Come on, I disagree with that.
Do you think they were robbed?
Of course, but I also didn't see. I didn't see
Anora.
Yeah, I didn't see Anora.
We're gonna get into that.
Okay.
I'll say it because Anora kept winning so many. I think it was like 5 out of 6. I quite literally paid $6 last night to rent on Apple Music.
I'm watching this.
And I watched it. I literally, as soon as it went off, I watched it.
Okay. So you have thoughts?
It's a good movie.
Okay.
I think it's a great, do you know what it's about?
No.
Okay, so it's this girl. She's like 23 years old, Brooklyn, Brighton Beach, if I'm not mistaken, like around there. She's a stripper. And then she meets this Russian, like, billionaire. Comes to the strip club. He's young, 21. They have like a whole moment. Then they like start dating. Okay. And then they get married in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And without spoiling, there's like all these twists and turns.
Okay. So this beat Wicked. I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together.
Like, it was like a good message.
No.
I feel like it was a good message. I feel like they did a good job. I mean, granted, it was a male director, but even with that being said, I really do think they did a good job telling the story of like many sex workers, and they did their research when it came to like interviewing the women. After watching it and understanding like how much Mikey Madison like prepared for this, I do think she did deserve Best Actress. And like a matter of like 7-8 months, not only did she learn how to strip, she also learned a Brooklyn accent, but like a specific type of Brooklyn accent. She learned Russian. There was many moments in the movie that she had to speak Russian, and she did.
And it sounded okay?
It sounded pretty good.
Wow.
It sounded pretty good. And she just like, you could tell she like really put her heart and soul into it. The character is polar opposite to like who she is as a person. And like just the way that, the way she even talks, she's very soft-spoken. Okay. You know, very feminine. And this girl is like, you mother, like literally cursing out any and everybody. So great acting, because I would have never guessed.
I need to go watch it.
You should watch it.
I need to go watch
feel like it was she did a good job. Now, should it have won Best Picture? I don't know. I
can't say anything because I didn't watch it.
Because you didn't watch it, yeah.
But I just know how good Wicked was.
It was really good. Someone said, did I say, oh no, someone else was like, it's too Disney for Oscars.
I don't know. I don't think I would.
I will say when I saw that Ariana lost, it kind of like set the tone. I didn't think that they were going to do too well.
For the rest of the night, you would know. Yeah.
Right?
If you didn't get that, yeah.
I was very surprised by that, especially after her performance. Oh, which that just reminded me. Did you see Doja Cat perform?
No.
I
missed that, yeah.
It was so bad. So they did a whole James Bond like tribute.
Okay.
And people were very confused as to why, like, you know, Diamonds Are Forever, like that whole song. Why was Doja Cat performing it?
She sung that?
Mm-hmm. She sung, yeah, she shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. It was actually really bad. I have like a raw reaction because I was vlogging me like watching the show, and she got on stage and she was like missing a few notes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I being a hater right now? I go on Twitter.
Do you think that's usual for her to
sing
like that?
No.
Okay.
No. I also don't even think, can we count her as like a singer?
I wouldn't put her in that box.
Right.
But that's why I'm like, it's her performing like this. Is that?
I don't know why they called her, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I think she was also trying to do something new. She was singing like she was a villain. So maybe that's like some of that approach. Yeah. She was trying her best. That was very confusing. But that whole segment didn't make sense to me. I'm thinking about how like many people, their speeches were cut off. And it's like, why are we having a 7-minute James Bond tribute? Why is why are we allowing some people to speak for 7 minutes about nothing?
Yeah.
Like, it's just moments like that. We're wasting time. This was very unnecessary.
You're also taking away from other people's like speeches that deserve the time to really share about the special moment that they had.
100%. There was this one guy, and I'm so sorry I don't remember his name, but it was I remember Miley Cyrus was introducing the award, and there were 3 of them. Okay. They gave a minute for 3 people to say something. And once it was his turn, like they all were speaking really fast to try and get everyone in. Right when it was his turn, the first word he said, they cut his mic. And it was his first time winning an Academy Award. And you could just see his face like, because that's also embarrassing.
And disrespectful to the
court. Like, absolutely. Like, literally, Miley Cyrus' reaction was like, no, F that. She was like trying to get someone's attention. Because I don't know if it was done on purpose. There was a lot of like gaps. And I feel bad because, fun fact, this is so off topic, but my mom, she used to be a producer, like a TV producer. So I do understand and respect like how much goes behind the scenes, especially live. Like that's why she never liked doing the news, which is a way lower scale than like the Oscars, for example. But there were a couple of mishaps of music starting too soon or like commercial break, but you're not supposed to go to commercial break, quite yet. You can kind of tell. There was another, at the very end, they're actually about to say who won Best Actress, and Hulu shuts off. So I didn't even see the last awards.
Is that, like, who's in? Like, whose fault is that? Like, it's...
That would be, I feel like that might be Hulu's fault, actually, because technically it's ABC hosting, but, like, you can stream it on Hulu.
Yeah.
And they were like, thank you, the live stream is over at exactly, like, 11 p.m., and that was the last 2 big awards. So I did not even know. I had to find out from Twitter that Mikey won. And then for Best Picture, same thing. Yeah. Like everybody was primarily, because who has cable? I mean, do you have cable?
I don't.
Okay, yeah, right. Who has cable?
Who has cable?
Like we only use streaming. So the fact that you just cut that off, like we've all been waiting all night, 4 hours.
Yeah.
No one could see it. But yeah, I do feel bad for Cynthia, but
Their singing was pretty good.
It was amazing.
Right? Okay.
It was absolutely amazing. I just feel bad because when you can... It's tough. Like, everybody, again, was raving about it. They were in so much press. And I'm just thinking about... Imagine everyone saying that this is your time and it doesn't happen.
And it doesn't happen.
Similar with, like, Timothée Chalamet. That's another... They kept shouting him out and doing skits around him. And he didn't win anything. He won nothing. And apparently he was doing the Bob Dylan movie for 5 years.
What?
5 years. Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
And he won nothing.
That's wild.
People are saying that he's going to be like the next Leonardo DiCaprio. And I hate that because we shouldn't get another one. Honestly, we should like the one
be himself. And
be himself. I think they're also saying like more so about him losing, because how it took Leonardo like
so long
years to get the award. Yeah, and then he won it for something that was like, okay, like no one even really watched it. Yeah, that part is upsetting, but that's the Oscars.
They need to look, whatever the Grammys did for this past show, they need an overhaul because the Academy has been tripping, especially Again, I think the numbers as far as folks, like individual Black people who have won an award there, it's like in the 60s or something like that. And since,
crazy.
I mean, some of them have won multiple awards, but...
that's even crazier, but yeah.
Since they've been around, it should have been so much more.
100%. It's been around for like almost 100 years.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's insane, but I don't know. They always say every year they're going to change.
Where the change is at?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it quite yet, but at least the whole like, what was it, like the Tonys, Oscars? There's like a couple other ones that are important.
Grammys.
All the award shows I think are done now.
Yeah,
I think we have a break from like just being slammed with all of these different shows, and all of them can finally rest. Something else that's been trending on social media has been Lewis Hamilton, who just had a huge article with Time magazine. He was the cover. And it's all about his switch from Mercedes to Ferrari. Now, for those who don't know, we're talking about F1 driving. I can't even like try to act like I don't know this information. I'm trying my hardest, but Mustafa just like exposed himself and told me he didn't know who Lewis Hamilton was, y'all.
I did not. I do not know who he is.
Like,
And I should know, right? I should.
Know.
I should.
You should know. I can't even pull the Black History card anymore because it's no longer Black History. But anyway, if you guys don't know who Lewis Hamilton is, he is the first and only Black F1 driver ever, which is insane.
Yeah.
And that's actually why I want to highlight him. He was kind of trending on Twitter and Instagram too for this quote. He said, "Don't ever compare me to anybody else. I'm the first and only Black driver that's ever been in this sport. I'm built different. I've been through a lot. I've had my own journey. You can't compare me to another 40-year-old, past or present, Formula One driver in history because they are nothing like me. I'm hungry, driven, I don't have a wife, and I don't have kids. I'm focused on one thing, and that's winning. That's my number one priority."
That sounds like somebody who's trying to get it to
Hello?
it. He's trying to get to
that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm trying to figure out like who they were comparing him to. It was a really long article. Transparently, I did not finish all of it. Yeah. But I did see that they kind of made a reference to LeBron James. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to like compare him only because they're both like 40. Well, LeBron's 40s, right?
He's upper 40.
Upper 40s, right?
He's up there.
And so I think a lot of people are trying to like, they always want to make comparisons. I don't know if those are two sports you can like really compare, but I also wonder if Lewis, and also they're now that he is older, because there are some older F1 that go up to like late 40s, 50s. Now he's getting compared to the greats, if you will. But I understand what he's saying. Like, don't compare me to them.
But why does his age even matter? Like, there are a lot of people who have like had fame in whatever industry they're in, but they didn't reach that until like late in like their years.
Well, he's been, I think it's also because, I don't remember when he started, but I want to say it was like 20s.
Okay.
Like, so he's been doing this for so long, and also it's still a sport, you know? So it can like, I was talking to my uncle about this. He was like, I mean, he could go as long as he wants. He's not running. But I'm like, if you're in a very like high speed car for that long, I can imagine your back, your legs, like, and it's a tiny car. And it's, the races, I didn't realize this until recently, because I'm not like a humongous F1 fan. I just know a little bit about it. But I saw that it was like 2 hours on average a race, 2 to like 3 hours of just driving.
But I can also imagine that it's pretty dangerous. And that's not to say that other things aren't. Yeah. But like you driving pretty fast.
Like 150, 170 miles per hour, 2+ hours. Do you know how many people flip over? It's actually like almost every race, there's always a crash. Always. Yeah. It's wild. So yeah, that, and then also the older you get, it's more of a mental sport because you can't be fearful, obviously. And then not
driving that fast, you can't.
Exactly. And then what's the other thing? Oh, the moment you get into a crash is like really hard to come back from that. There's this one guy, there's like a whole Netflix, and you might enjoy it actually. It's a Netflix series all about the F1 drivers. It's kind of like a reality show for them.
Okay.
But a little bit more like classy, if you will, when it comes to reality TV. There's this one driver, and I'm blanking on his name. I'm so bad with names. And he got into one crash, and I kid you not,
changed his life.
Every single crash, every single race was just crashes.
Yeah.
Like he could not come back from it. And it's all a mental thing. Like you don't make a turn sharp enough, or you slow down too soon, or, you know, you hesitate. It's always like those hesitating moments where now you're messing up. And when they crash, they're out for the entire race. That's the other part that sucks. So you trained all this time.
And the other part about it, I think, is like probably traumatizing for them. So like you're talking about they're not able to really come back from it. They're probably traumatized from it a little bit. 100%.
Definitely PTSD.
Yeah.
1000%. Especially like depending on how bad. Because some of them, it just might literally like, let's say a tire, like the rim might have broke or something might have happened and they just spin away. And then some are like, yes, very traumatized. Some are like flipping or like there's a fire about to happen. And I don't know how they do it. Honestly, I get nervous when my car reaches 90 plus.
Okay, so I have a question. Because I've only seen this like on TV shows and like whenever seeing races. But when they go to like the pit and like they get the tire away, is it really that fast? Like they do it.
It is, and it has to be that fast. Like it has to
crazy.
be like 10 seconds.
They train for that moment.
Yes, no, 1000%.
Really.
And oh my gosh, I'm highly recommending this F1 Netflix show. I want to say first season. one of those guys messed his race up, and he was literally about to win. And actually, I think it was Lewis who like beat him because of this. Was two different stories. One story was he didn't what's it called, tighten the tire on enough, so the tire fell off. Could you imagine? And he knew as soon as he left, he was like, I don't think I tightened it enough. And they were like, what do you mean? He's
Come
gone.
on, you can't play like that.
What do you mean?
You can't.
And that's playing with his life too, you know? And then another one, they weren't ready for him. The guy was coming and
they pulled around.
Yep, because the managers are like separate, or like who you would deem as coaches. They're in like a separate area and they're looking at the track. They're speaking to him the whole time, like, oh, make this turn, do this, slow down, speed up. Because they can like see the entire race. It's like a bunch of TV screens. Then you have the people in the pit. And so the guy was telling them, hey, he's coming. The people in the pit not paying attention. Why are y'all sitting down? And he's pulling up. It's supposed to be 10 seconds.
I don't even drive. I would have been pissed. Where y'all at?
Oh, he was angry.
Where y'all at?
Literally, like, the margin is so thin. Stuff like that, race is over.
Yeah. You lost.
That's why your team matters so much. Like, your team are those people. And drivers say it all the time. Like, people always wonder, like, is it the car or is it the driver? I think it's both. You need the proper engines, obviously. You need the people, but you also need, like, a good driver who knows, like, how to play their cards.
Yeah.
Because some of them get too cocky in the beginning. They, like, try to cut you off, and now you just bumped into somebody, and now you're spinning off, and that's your race. Like, that happens all the time. So yeah, I definitely think it's both, but I'm excited to hear how this goes for Lewis because it's a big deal. He's never, or ever since the beginning of his career, he's always been with Mercedes. Okay. So the fact that this year he's switching over to Ferrari is like, whoa. Like everybody was like, what's happening?
Why did he switch? Like, what was it?
In the magazine in the article, he was saying how he just needs something new.
Okay.
Like he's been doing this for so long. He's already had so many firsts. He was getting bored with the sport and he needed like that nervous feeling again, almost like he was too comfortable, which can be honestly equally as dangerous as like being too fearful, you know, like that level of, I can just do.
He wanted something fresh. And sometimes I could imagine people in this space probably stick to what they know, like in that comfort zone. So.
Absolutely. Or honestly, it's funny because yes, exactly. People get too comfortable. And you have the opposite where like maybe they're not a good enough driver and then they lose those huge like cars, right? Like this happened with Red Bull all the time. Like Red Bull's cars, they're known to like if you're not winning,
you gotta
dropping you. Right. You gotta go.
You gotta go.
So yeah, there's like both. Like some people they stay way too long and they're arguably a little bit too loyal because maybe like the staff is not as loyal to them. And you have some other people who every year it's like, oh my gosh, I just need to like place enough where I don't lose my job.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing about this sport. Only like, I want to say it's only like 21 to 23 placements. So 21 to 23 cars, I mean, and racers in the world are competing in this. So it's like very stiff competition. And most companies, most brands, they only have like 2 cars. So the fight to like kind of, I don't know, even get somebody to sponsor you, because that's essentially what you need. You need the vehicle and they're so expensive. And this is something that Lewis talks about, like why there aren't any other black drivers. Like one, I mean, let's be real. Is your mama letting you bring
No.
I think that's a part of it. Like my mother, she looked at, I remember Trey was watching, my little brother was watching. I was like, oh, I want to do that. She's like, absolutely not. There's no way. That is not the sport that we encourage, but it's also such a wealthy and just hard to get in. It's like, it's all about class, you know? Yeah. Now we're going to transfer over to the interview section. Okay. I'm so excited, you guys. I want to start this whole series where I'm interviewing New York-based DJs. Not just New York-based DJs, but I definitely want to like I definitely want to start here and pay homage to, obviously. Well, do you think DJing started in New York? Because this is another debate.
Absolutely.
You actually?
Yeah. Well, started.
Because wasn't it
I won't say started, but I think if you're thinking about genre, like hip hop.
Like hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop.
That's where I'm leaning more towards. Yeah. But when I was doing a little bit of research, I heard Europe.
Europe, okay.
I could be wrong.
Europe. What were they doing over there in Europe?
It's like they were starting to DJ the vinyl. No. You never heard this? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Look, as far
wrong.
as I'm really tapped into the hip hop scene, and so like where that kind of emerged in the 70s on vinyl.
Yeah.
And so like I credit a lot of that
to
New York. Yeah.
That I got to watch you DJ for the first time, I'd say, and it was like a big deal because that was your 1 year anniversary.
It was my 1 year, yeah.
So exciting.
It was a big
How
day.
How did that feel?
It felt, honestly, I felt really blessed.
Yeah.
I was thankful that entire day, the entire week, because I never thought I would be at this point, like starting out DJing at 1 year, having these gigs, people coming out all over to come see me spin, which is crazy. But yeah, it's just the support that I've gotten since I've started DJing has been wild. And
I love that.
A big thanks to everybody that has come out and supported me along the way. I really appreciate it.
I love that. Well, now I have to lose some of the positivity because I have to. I told you I had a problem with you. It was a great night overall.
Okay.
But then he played one song. He played 1 2 Step by Sierra, and we were all getting it. Like, literally every woman in there, we were, oh my gosh, all doing the 1 2 Step, having a ball.
Y'all should.
And then he skipped Missy.
Whoa.
And when I tell you we all paused, like, everybody was like, hey, and then we're about to, like, start popping up.
They ain't do it like that. Come on.
Yeah. Everybody literally stopped and looked around and said, did he just skip Missy? Yeah, no, my friends told me I had to bring that up. They would literally like put that in the notes out because that was crazy.
I did. The only reason I skipped Missy is because when she gets into that little, yeah, that part, the transition is perfect to go into another song. So like, I love Missy. I love her.
So crazy.
But the transition was important to me, so I had to do it like butter.
That's so crazy.
Come on.
But I love that you mentioned transitions. I'm very curious. So for you, those who don't know, you strictly only DJ with vinyls.
Only vinyl, yeah.
So impressive. I love that because obviously, like we mentioned earlier, that is the basics. That's traditional DJing. Mm-hmm. But how the hell do you actually do a proper transition with vinyl?
It's tough. There's different ways to do it. And I've learned this as I've been DJing. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest piece is that it's by the tempo. It's by the BPM, beats per minute. And it's essentially telling you how fast the record is going. So you want to match that with another record. So you have a computer, you can do that manually, or that's automatic, right? So, but on vinyl, I have to kind of I count in my head for like how fast the record is going, or I can write the BPM ahead of time, which mostly what I do.
And right where, like on a
like
notepad?
on the record,
on the
like
record.
on the
I
record.
Love that. Okay,
yeah, so you'll see like the numbers on the records. So that's the BPM. Yeah.
I know a little something, y'all.
Okay.
I was telling
trying to get behind the turntable. Wait a minute.
I would love to, but I know it would not go too well. Everybody they would be just as mad at me. They'd be like, "Wait, she cut Missy."
Why she cut Missy?
in the middle. But no, I was telling the girls that I was like, because they also didn't understand how you were able to like perfectly place it in certain parts. Like watching documentaries, I'm one of those music nerds who watches a ton of like old school documentaries. And they talk about like marking it like a Sharpie, whatever, to like know exactly where to place the needle.
You'll even see some people, they'll put stickers on the actual records for like the cue points. So you can know exactly where to scratch it in or where to, mix it in. They do that. Explain
the scratching though. What is that actually doing?
So I don't scratch really because it ruins your records. Your record's gonna be messed up.
What is the benefit of it? Just like the little.
It's the but you can use that to transition into other records. You can use it just like as an effect.
Yeah.
I don't really do this, but some DJs juggle records, so they'll fade into.
What is juggle record?
So how do I explain this? So if you have two of the same tracks on vinyl, you can have them on both decks. So you can kind of use a crossfader, which is basically going from one channel to the other. To make a new beat out of the two identical records. And so you can go to different sections of the track, fade into the same track on the other table, then go back to the other table and find a new cue point, go back to that table.
Sounds hard as hell.
But but that's the art of DJing, is that you take something that is the same and you're making something new out of it. And it's very like hands-on, and that's the beauty of it.
I love that. That's so impressive.
Yeah.
That sounds very complicated.
Oh, it is.
It sounds so
it is.
complicated. I'm curious, and we're gonna like start to go a little bit backwards. Let's just start from like what even got you into DJing. You say you just started a year ago. Was that a year ago first time you're like, okay, let me figure this out? Or was it a year ago just like actually playing in public?
A little bit of both, actually. I had always really been interested in these types of curated spaces around music that I would go to in New York. There's a couple of places in Philly that I've gone to. This place called LMNO. It's a listening room. They're no longer open. Rest in peace. But I was always fascinated about like curating spaces and how sound makes people feel and how that brings people together. And I wanted to do that. I love hosting, so I wanted to have something at my crib and, curate some sounds, love making a playlist. And then I fast forward a little bit and I go to this place called LMNO in Philly, and I walk into the space. It's a really dope listening bar, and the DJ is this older guy. He's playing this James Brown track over this like hip hop beat, which I'm like, how is this possible? He's mixing with the records.
Yeah.
So I go over to talk to him, and I'm like, yo, like you spinning really good right now. Like, chatting it up with him. And he tells me a little bit about himself. And he's like, yo, I do this on the side. I'm a professor, full time. And I love music, and I'm spinning this out. And so for me hearing that, I was like, dang, I could be spinning out. Like, I have my job on the side, like my main job, but I can explore some creative avenues as well. And so I bought another turntable, bought a mixer, and was like, let me really tap into this curation, of spaces and music and bringing that to life. And the rest is kind of history. I just started practicing. And then fast forward a little bit, this new place called Dea opened up. And it was like February, I believe. And this is like February of last year. So I go in there, it's like a soft launch opening. They're not even open yet, for real. It's a soft launch opening with the layout. And I'm like, yo, this is a vibe. This is a new spot, Black owned, Flatbush, Brooklyn. Like, this is dope.
I love it.
And so I'm like, yo, who owns this place? And the owner comes around. I was like, yo, like you asked about me. And I was like, yo, y'all trying to bring vinyl here? I've never spun vinyl out a day in my life. And I was like, yo, y'all trying to bring that? Like, I can,
Yeah.
I got you. I'm your man. And he's like, oh, let's exchange numbers. And so I get his number, and a day goes by, and I didn't reach out to him, but I posted like a TikTok about, new spot opened up.
Yeah.
And, in Flatbush, Brooklyn, y'all got to check it out. And it went crazy. It went viral, y'all.
Oh, wow.
And the owner reaches out to me
Yeah.
through the Dea Instagram account he reaches out on Instagram. It's like, yo, I think we exchanged numbers last night. You said you DJ. He was like, yo, what's your rate? And I was like, wow, never been asked that before.
Yeah.
And then we fast forward, and he gave me an opportunity. Shout out to June. He gave me an opportunity to spin at Dea, and it was actually their official opening weekend that I got to spin. Final.
And that was your first time.
That was my first time.
That's pressure. Did you feel pressure, or were you like...
Oh, absolutely. I think I arrived there like an hour or two before my gig, which is crazy. I was just sitting there like, what did I get myself into? And I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I had people who came out and they showed a lot of love and support for me, and it felt so genuine that wasn't really worried about that too much. I played good music, I'll tell you that. I played good music, but we had a really good time. And I think after that, it has opened up so many doors for me to DJ at so many different venues across the city.
I love that. I love that. I'm also, again, I just have to give you your flowers though, because for you to like your first time ever DJing, and again, like vinyl, I don't think people fully understand how nerve-wracking that is, because you can't just hit a next button.
Yeah.
You can't just like mute, stop. Like once something stops, the music's stopping completely. There is no quick, let me figure
none of
this
that
out at all. So yeah, I'm definitely impressed. Now I want to take it another step back and just talking about your love and appreciation for music overall.
Yeah.
And what's the origin of that? And I want to ask because I feel like looking at your social media, you don't discuss music in broadly at all, right? You're always going a little bit deeper than just like talking about your top 5 favorite songs of the month, or you're discussing the origin of genres and digging deeper into the messaging behind some of like our favorite albums. So I'm curious, like, who either introduced you to music or like where did that love come from?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So I credit my love for music a lot to my parents. And it sounds cliche, but really, I'm from Chicago. I don't think I've said that yet. And so my parents were really big on house music and, you know, that type of genre.
Yeah.
And so I had
Black
the
house
feeling.
music. Sorry to cut you off, but black house music.
Black house music.
About. That is what he's talking about, y'all. There's a difference.
Black house music.
There's
like,
a difference.
Like Knuckles, house music.
Yes.
But we would have, you know, it was one of those households where you wake up, you hear music, and you know it's a cleaning day. And like one of those.
Yes.
And my parents are playing like house music, funk, soul, R&B, all of the good tunes.
Yeah.
And there were moments too where we would go on like car rides, and my mom would whip out this case of CDs for the car ride and just put one of those in, and we would just be singing along.
Yeah.
And I don't know, over time, that's really like instilled in me just this love and appreciation for music, and not just the tracks that we just, you know, love, like R&B and hip hop hits, but music as a whole, all of the genres. And so I think now what you see on social media is that music is so important to us. Like it's healing. It makes us feel some things that sometimes we can't really put to words.
Yeah.
And there's so much storytelling in music as well. And so I try to reach to this and not just, oh, it sounds good, or, oh, this new track came out, but like, what is this track telling us? Like, what is this track making us feel? Yeah. Especially some of the older tracks, because they were actually making music.
Yeah.
They put their foot in that music, y'all.
100%.
They were really making music about something, whether it was like social issues that were going on in times. I'm thinking like tracks in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
I can think about like any Bob Marley song whatsoever.
Right. That's movement music.
Absolutely. My father is Jamaican. And so I think the older I got, the more I started to understand.
Yeah.
The one thing about like music back in the day, at least, and now too sometimes, but arguably they're not really talking about much right about now. The beat and the production was so good that we were just like dancing, but we weren't really listening all the time to what they were actually saying. So similar to, I'm sure you, as you get older, you start to really listen to like the words and like, oh, like you said, they're really talking. Like I understand what they're fighting for. And it's also kind of funny because it's like, dang, that's what I'm dancing to. Like, this is kind of sad.
Like, God, just pause one day and you out and about at a bar, club, listen to the lyrics of what you dancing to.
100%.
You'd be like, why am I moving my body to this right now? This don't even make...
Exactly.
Like,
but I love that you talk about that. And I also love that you kind of like pay homage to artists in a way of talking about where their mind was, you know, during that time. Do you want to talk about Cue the Record and how did that actually start, number one, and then two, the upcoming event that's happening. We were talking about Solange's album.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll start with Cue the Record. So this was probably like last year over the summer, and I had been following someone who I actually met in college. We had connected there, but we had reconnected on TikTok, and she posts a lot of music online. So I peeped that. I was like, I'm thinking through this idea of Cue the Record, and it wasn't even called Cue the Record then at that point. It was just like, I wanted to do a listening session of some sort.
Yeah.
So I reached out to her on Instagram. I was like, yo, I have this idea. Like, let's talk it through. Like, what do you think about it? I would love to like collab with you on it because I know you love music similar to like how I do. And we get together and we're brainstorming this thing, and it just connects just like that. Like my ideas, her ideas.
Yeah.
and it blossoms into this thing called Cue the Record. And so essentially what we were thinking about is how do we share the stories behind records? And how do we share a full body of work? Because I think how the music industry is set up right now is that you get these hit tracks and that's it.
Yes. I'm about to quote Beyonce.
What'd she say?
Quite literally said, this was when, this was either her 4 album or her self-titled album, but she was like, people don't make bodies of work anymore.
Yeah.
People don't make albums anymore.
It's true.
It's just like a single and it's just a bunch of singles, you know? And then that's the body of work.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they put all those like hit singles on one album, you're not even telling a story. It's the album, and you can tell as a listener, you know?
I think because it's, I mean, in part it sells. It makes them money.
Numbers,
and the numbers, it makes them money. What's that guy name? Was it Tommy Rich? Is that?
Yes, Richardson. Yeah,
Richardson.
yeah.
Tommy Richardson. Okay, when he released that song, $1 Million Baby.
Yes.
It was a banger.
It was.
But like, I think too, this is kind of going off on a tangent, but like, people were like placing him in that box of like just making these one hit bangers, and like he didn't want to be there. Like I think for him, he probably wanted to produce a full body of work, and he also didn't want to be called hip hop art. Is that?
Yeah, he didn't want to be called hip hop.
Yeah,
art.
so there's some other stuff there too, but I think why I bring that up is that because these musicians are making these one track songs and they're going like viral. They're getting, they're going big, but like we need to get back to the basics of like creating full bodies of work that tell a story, a cohesive story.
Yeah.
And so that was what we wanted to do with Cue the Record. We wanted to bring people together because it's also when it's the last time, for one, you listen to a full body of work, but 2, listen to it with other people. And then was able to talk about it. That's the third point, right?
Yeah.
To be able to have a discussion with other people about what you just heard, how that made you feel. What are you thinking after listening to that?
Yeah.
And so, that's Cue the Record. We had our first event in December. Went amazing. We did Kanye West, College Dropout.
Ugh,
you missed out.
Favorites. That's one of my favorites.
And as someone from Chicago, I was like, yes, this is amazing.
Are you from Chicago, or are you from the suburbs of Chicago?
Like Southside Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Don't come
okay.
from.
I don't know, because everybody I meet.
What you know about Chicago?
They be from the burbs. I'm like, you about an hour out.
I have lived in the burbs as well. Yeah, in Linwood, Illinois. Not the majority of my life, actually. Don't come for me. Don't come.
Leave the cities. Okay.
Don't come for me.
He left Southside when he was like 8 years old, y'all. But anyway, keep going.
Anyways, what's she talking about? That? Okay. But yeah, we had our first event, Kanye West, College Dropout, and then we did our second one a little bit ago in February. We did Jay Dilla's Welcome to Detroit because February is Dilla's month, also Black History Month, but Dilla's month too. So we honor his legacy.
I love that.
And then our upcoming event is Solange, A Seat at the Table, which is a phenomenal album. Yeah. And talk about storytelling.
Yeah.
We strategically picked this album coming out of Black History Month into Women's History Month. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so excited. I can't wait to attend. Yeah. The location, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but as somebody who lives around the other side of Brooklyn, I was like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah, Williamsburg.
It's a little, that is Greenpoint, sir.
Okay, look, I don't really know.
Greenpoint.
It's Greenpoint, okay.
That is
Greenpoint.
It's too deep. It's a little deep, y'all. It's a little deep, but I'm excited nonetheless. I'm excited to be around people who also enjoy discussing music.
Yeah.
Because again, that's also how like this podcast started. My first episode was me talking about Tyler the Creator's album that he recently dropped.
Chromacopia?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And I was breaking down the actual lyrics behind it and some of his storytelling in the album. And again, that's what I mean by I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to go back to that. It's a little bit hard.
I like that.
It's enjoyable. There's other podcasts who do similar stuff. I don't know if you heard of Dissect before.
I've heard of Dissect, yeah.
And so that's what made me appreciate Kanye West a little bit more as an artist. And appreciate that album, Dark Twisted Fantasy, versus because College Dropout used to be my favorite, but then listening to somebody each single podcast episode, he's breaking down every single song and where he was at mentally and even some foreshadowing. Now I'm about to go on a tangent. There's literally foreshadowing of him having bipolar, him being bipolar in that album. And then kind of what triggered that was his mother passing away. Because if people don't know, that's not something that you're technically born with. It's always a trauma response. And
Absolutely.
so the fact that he like went away after his mother passing and, you know, the what's called MTV Music Awards situation happening, he went away to Hawaii and he just like made this amazing body of work. But literally through it, you can tell that he's like fighting his own emotions throughout the entire album. So I love that. And people just, it makes you appreciate the work more, you know?
But like that's the thing with music is like people are experiencing something as they're producing this. And I'm not going to spill too much beans with the Solange I see at the table, but she was going through a lot while as she was producing and making that album.
Like personally, like in her personal life?
Yeah, there's an instance that, you know, she and her family were out at a concert and just having a really negative experience with someone else. And she actually went to her website and like wrote a long form piece about it.
Oh wow!
In 2016, which we'll share later.
I don't want to spoil my own experience.
I bring that up to say is that these musicians, their music is informing what like informed by what they've gone through and are going through, right? Yeah. So I can understand that with Kanye, like you can hear that in his music.
100%. I'm definitely excited to attend.
It's gonna probably be our best one yet.
You think?
Yeah. We're at a new venue.
Okay.
So this is a new venue, even though it's kind of far. But the venue is beautiful. Okay. And we've gotten to a point where we are fully curating the space. So I have like my audio, hi-fi system set up. That's actually my home setup, but I'm bringing, you know, here. So
I'm impressed.
You can like actually feel like the sound is, you know, feel the goodness of the sound.
Yeah.
It feels like you're in the recording studio with them. That's how good.
Oh wow.
It sounds. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited for that. The last thing I have like quick fire questions for you, just like as a DJ.
Cool.
I'm curious about coming from someone who is vinyl heavy, like, or strictly vinyl, I should say. Do you prefer playing new or old?
Ooh, old.
Always old? Why?
I like the older stuff. But I mean, even the more like known stuff that I play out, like the R&B and hip hop hits.
Yeah.
It depends on what's old. Like,
well, okay, yeah, let's
wait a minute. Let's backtrack a little bit. What's old?
I would say anything that's not in the 2000s. Or okay, that's not even true. Let's say like probably at this rate, like 2010 and past. At this rate?
Okay.
That's 15 plus years.
I do old then. Like, but I love playing, like it depends on the venue, but I'll play R&B and hip hop from the 2000s, early 2000s, 90s even. But I love playing soul and funk and boogie. Like that's my jam right there.
I love that. I love that. I'm also wondering if like it's hard to play newer vinyls because in my opinion, as someone who has like, I have my own record player. And when I try to buy like newer records, you can hear the difference between the newer ones versus like the older ones. Yeah. It doesn't sound right. It almost sounds better on just a speaker.
Most of this, they're just pressing like an MP3 or something audio file on wax, which that's horrible and not great quality. They also scratch a lot easier. I've been noticing compared to some old ones. Fix that.
Like, please fix that because they're not getting cheaper.
Yeah,
it's so
actually
expensive.
The newer ones are so much more expensive than all this stuff.
They are definitely. Like I think I have my two Frank Oceans were each like $50.
I don't even have Frank Ocean, so you really winning.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How you don't have Frank
Channel
Ocean?
Orange? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Blonde. I do. They're sitting on my wall.
Blonde is expensive though. Like that's an expensive record.
Actually, the fact that I found it in a store, I was in Lower East Side and I found it for $50. I was like, this is a steal.
Yeah, I would have grabbed that too.
Yeah, I had to grab it. I don't even think he realized how expensive that was.
Yeah.
It's hard to find. Beautiful vinyls too. They're like really vibrant colors. Love Frank. That sounds good on vinyl, I will say. Okay.
Some of them, don't. I hear you about the quality. So I bought Kendrick's GNX because I wanted to play that out.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a new record, but it sounds a lot lower than some of the like the older like records that I have. And I notice it because I'm DJing with it. And so when I'm trying to transition into it, I have to turn the volume all the way up. And now I'm blowing the speakers and it just doesn't sound the best. Yeah.
Whose fault do you think that is?
I just think things were made better years ago. Like the quality was just there years ago. Now it's,
Yeah.
production, costs, all of that stuff is, cheaper to make poor quality
Yeah.
records. I mean, that's what it boils down to, which is a shame.
That is a shame. That is a shame. Okay, next fire question. Do you
Okay.
prefer small or large venues?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, wow. Okay. I think small venues.
I mean, as somebody who like attends, I agree.
Yeah.
I like a more like intimate
Yeah.
feel.
For when I'm DJing or where I'm going out
DJing,
to? Okay,
though.
DJ.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely small venues. Definitely small venues.
Are you able to, as a DJ, and this is again kind of difficult for you just being on vinyl, but can you like quickly pick up on like how a crowd is reacting and know
Absolutely.
how to immediately
That's my strong
transition?
suit.
And you could immediately just be like, all right, let me put something else on.
Well, I mean, you build up to it. It's like, I think
Okay.
it's more of, okay, if I'm playing something and I see people starting to move a little bit to what I'm playing, well, y'all want to dance, right? So let me put on some more dance tracks.
Okay.
Or I put on something and I see a couple of people in the crowd singing. You want to sing? You want one of those? I got you. So I'll put one of those on. So it's just, you feed off the energy of the crowd, which I think I do
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah.
And you go off of
You
that.
skipped Missy, but yes.
You just gonna keep going back to that.
You just gotta keep going back to
Okay, so
it.
next time I will play the Missy part. Okay.
Okay, and let
Just
me
for you,
know.
just for you.
Yes, literally. If you see me in the
Just-
crowd, I'm gonna look at you like playing my Missy. Thank you.
Just
Thank
for you.
Do you ever take song requests?
Oh,
Because how?
some DJs hate this. A lot of DJs hate
A
this.
lot of DJs hate that.
I hate it sometimes, but
Yeah.
I'm a people person, and
Okay. He's for the people.
I'm for the people, y'all. So somebody come up and they want to make a song request. Like, first, do I have it or not? Because I'm doing vinyl, and if I don't, I don't have that.
Yeah.
But if I do, I'll try to mix it in at some point. I think the thing with song requests is most times they want something completely different from what's playing.
yeah.
Like we going fast right now in terms of like the BPMs. Like we playing dance music. You want me to slow it down to X, Y, and Z
and like right now.
right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
No, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. You can't go from Mary J. Blige to Sexy Red. Like you just can't
Like
do that.
how and what
You can't do that.
in what world?
But like, I don't know. I guess I could see somebody like really like, they're like, actually, I'm done singing Real Love. I
Yeah.
actually want to like start shaking some.
But
you know?
I mean, there is a world. Let me backtrack. There is a world where you can do like some shifts there because, but it's just how you do it. Like it's a transition of some sort that you have to do. Like sometimes I'll have the record spinning and like I'll turn the turntable off, but the sound is still coming out. The turntable will stop spinning, but it's a slow stop. So it kind of seems like it's an effect that I'm putting on. So it sounds like the record is like slowing down.
Yeah.
And then I can play a slower track. So it's all about how you use the equipment.
Oh, it's almost like you know what you're talking about.
I do a little something, y'all.
That's so funny. I probably would be annoyed too. Because I get a little, I don't know. Now I'm a little offended. Like with my playlist, I like to, if I'm
that's another
hosting, I'm so intentional. I would like to play it start to finish. And I'm that annoying, geeky person. I'm playing it nonstop. Like, okay, no, let me move this song up. Like, let me do this. And at this hour, more people are probably going to be here. So let me do more upbeat. Oh, I want the night to slow down. I want people to start getting on my house. Let me slow it down.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I curate my playlist. And I hate when people are like, wait, can I plug in my phone? No, you cannot.
No,
like,
absolutely
you actually
not.
can't.
No.
I actually
Okay.
spent like a couple days on this.
Yeah.
So I think if I was a DJ, I would definitely be very annoyed.
So you thinking so because I think there's two ways that like how you would feel if somebody is coming to ask like for a request. It's like they're making a request because you aren't playing good music and they want to hear something else.
Yeah.
Or they're making a request because you're playing the songs and they want something that's kind of in the same genre. Like I've had that happen a lot where I'm playing some funk or something or some disco and they're like, oh, do you have this disco song? I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
I'll put that on next.
Well, that's a
which is fine.
compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then I feel like, okay, we're on the same page. But
Right,
back to
right.
like the Mary J. Blige and Sexy Red, if all of a sudden I'm like playing Mary and you're asking for Sexy, I'm like,
I had one time where like, okay, this is the thing with DJing is that you have to stay in your lane, okay? You have to stay in your lane. 'Cause I had people come up and be like, "Oh, yo, play some Afro beats," and I'm like, "Look, there are DJs who spin Afrobeat on vinyl.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What do you think your lane is?
So I'll do the throwback R&B and hip hop tracks, boogie, disco, some house tracks, and funk. Like that's my lane. That is where I'm at. And I can mix it pretty well that it seems like it's all connected to each other.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't sound, I experienced
You experienced? Come on.
I experienced
Stop acting like you brand new to this. Come on.
I experienced it. But it's so interesting that people will ask you for something completely different because I'm also, and my friends and I, we all do this. We'll oftentimes look up who's DJing before we even go. Like I need to know and I need to look.
That's necessary.
But not everyone does that. And so maybe that's why people are asking you, hey, can you play Afrobeats? And it's like, well, did you go on my page? Like you would know that's not what you're hearing tonight.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I'm like, I understand that's what you want. And it's people come to these venues with expectations of like what they want to hear.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad for myself for sticking true to like what I spin in my specialty because I don't know, I wouldn't be true to myself if I'm like, okay, let me go pick up some, Afro beats or something like that. No.
Especially when it comes to trends, you know? Like it's better to stay true to yourself so that way you're not chasing a trend.
Absolutely.
You are always there.
Yeah.
All right, I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
We're done. Do you have a favorite venue?
Ooh.
That could be tough. A favorite venue or like a favorite night? Because I know favorite system, I don't want you to get in trouble, but...
Right, I'm like, you trying to put me on the spot? Okay. Favorite venue.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places right now to spin at is, have you heard of Bar Orai? So it's in Midtown East. It's a Japanese whiskey vinyl speakeasy, right?
Okay.
Nice.
Sounds nice.
And I love spinning there because I can play whatever I want. And I literally prepare for these sets by just grabbing all of the new stuff that I bought, like in that month.
Testing.
I mean,
no.
Testing in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it's fresh to me, but also it's like, some of this y'all probably have never heard. And when I say like new stuff that I picked up, it's like the old stuff, like the 70s, some 70s track. I may have picked up some Latin funk or something like that, or some Afro funk or something like that. And people are really receptive to it. They're coming in, have a drink, sit in like a loungy space and like hear some good music.
Yeah.
They're probably pulling their Shazams out, like trying to see what did he just put
Now
on
I'm
that
clocking
turntable.
it.
No, for real. So I appreciate that because it's where I can really showcase my taste in music versus, playing out at some of these other venues, which I don't mind, but, I'm feeding off of the crowd and they typically want to hear like R&B or hip hop or some of these crowd favorites. I love Record Room because the energy there is phenomenal. Always fire. Like you going in there, you're going to have a time.
Yes.
So I love spinning there. But Bar Orai right now is probably my favorite. And any other venue that gives me autonomy to play those types of like things that you won't typically hear out.
Yeah. Fun. And then my final question for you. You're balancing, you talked about like work and how this is like a passion and you want to keep doing both is what I'm hearing. But like, where do you want to take this? Like a year or two?
Ooh.
I want to say 5, but I know the 5-year question always scares people. So like in the next year, you just came up on a year. What does this next year look like?
This next year? I'm gonna keep DJing for sure.
Yeah.
And I even think past the next year. I think this is something that I will do on the side. Not full time. Like I won't do it full time.
You would never do full time?
No.
Really?
Yeah, no, I have
DJs
like this.
can make a lot of money.
I understand that, but
You're like,
I have goals, y'all, okay? That do not involve DJing, okay? But I do love music enough to where like I would still do this on the side. And I think where I'm going this year is that I want to be more intentional about the gigs that I do. I really want to be involved in more curated events like that really elevate a nice experience and bring that experience to people versus just DJing out at every gig. When I first started DJing, I was spinning wherever I could because I mean, you have to do that. You have to get your name out there. But now I don't have to do that. These late nights, take me out. No, I'm serious.
Oh, you're done. You're
Like-
like no more 2, 3 a.m.
It hurts. That don't hurt. It hurts.
No, it does hurt. I was hurt.
You
after
wake up in
Friday.
the next day like,
yeah, like
yeah,
whoa.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's tough. That's tough. Yeah.
more curated events.
Okay.
But I'm gonna keep doing it for a while.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you. Do you want to let people know where they can find you on socials? How can they attend the next Cue the Record? I don't know if you have a date.
We do have a date. Yeah, we do have a date. Okay, so yeah, if you want to stay connected with me or get connected with me, you can follow me on social media at Mustafa Ali-Smith. That's on all social media accounts. Like to keep it consistent.
I appreciate that.
And then for Cue the Record, you can follow Cue the Record on Instagram at Cue the Record. And we have our next event coming up on March 9th and 10th. And so we're going to be covering Solange, A Seat at the Table. And yeah, you can find us on Instagram.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
And thank you guys for watching if you're watching on video or listening if you're listening on audio. And I'll catch you guys next Wednesday. Bye, guys.
Peace.